tell early on that it was like, they just don't have it today, right? So I had it on in my office. I was doing some other things. Playing a little Call of Duty. I was working a little bit, kind of doing all things during that game. Kind of looking over my shoulder. Sure enough, I hadn't looked at the screen in a while. Turn around, first time in a while. I turn around. I'm like, all right, let's just see what he does. Threw it. Right, interception, right in the damn end zone. Someone was like, well, there it is. Live by Jameis, die by Jameis. So now the rumors have been the Browns are looking to move Zadarius Smith. People believe this is going to be Detroit is going to be your highest bidder, and that will be, that will bring you the biggest result back in the picks and the like, and that's what you're going to need. More and more people starting to come over to the side of, looks like 2025 what the Browns will do is just to dump Deshaun Watson and eat the money. The only way to do that is that you start getting a lot of picks back, use those picks, bring guys on the roster, and be paying them absolutely nothing while you're still paying off that $92 million that you owe Deshaun Watson. Yeah, that is probably going to happen. So Zadarius Smith is probably gone. Another name on that list that's starting to float around a little bit is David Njoku. So we got more than a few questions for Scott from winningfornextyear.com, and we'll get into that, like I said, with him at 8 a.m. this morning. We were talking weddings last week and how much they cost and setting aside and the American dream and how do you say. It turns out a guy has blown his marriage already by who was on his guest list for his wedding. Don't make this mistake. Next here on The Stansberry Show.
The Stansberry Show.
Nerd stuff probably really excites you because you're a nerd.
On Rock 106.9.
The Cavaliers, 7-0 on the year. At home against the Bucks tonight. Currently, the Bucks 1-5. 7 o'clock. That game at Rocket Mortgage. Last season it was, can Donovan Mitchell... Well, first it was, is he going to resign? Is Donovan going to stick around, right? Does. Can Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland coexist? Seems like they get along as buddies, but, can the play styles coexist? People were curious. I don't want to lay it all on J.B. Bickerstaff, but geez, those rotations that guy had been using and, getting the guys in and out of each other's way, it didn't really seem to be working out. Now, all of a sudden, 7-0 on the year. We'll talk to Scott from winningfornextyear.com about that. And, more than a few Browns questions, too. Zadarius Smith probably going to be a Detroit Lion. We would imagine a few other players probably will be at least discussed. One of the names already out there, according to Pro Football Talk, would be David Njoku, your tight end there. Now, I think that might just be a name that they're kind of floating as this would make sense. Not necessarily a ton of legitimate action having taken place with Njoku just yet. All right, I've never been married. We've talked about weddings a couple of times. They came up in a conversation last week about the American dream and saving for it and retirement and all of that. But who you invite to your wedding seems to be a big topic of conversation. Once upon a time, I was doing a radio show, I was hosting afternoons, and the head of sales, who is now the head of the Cleveland building, he was the head of sales then, did not invite us to his wedding. And we, of course, felt slighted by that. It's bro, you're the head of sales for this radio station. We're doing afternoons successfully. And, we're not invited to that? That felt I didn't really want to go. But it was at Progressive Field. It was going to be an event. And we knew, and we felt slighted by that. We went on the air and told everybody we felt slighted by that. Right? Because we felt slighted by that. Who you invite to your wedding, there can be an issue. I know my brother and his wife, she had been a school teacher in California when they decided to get married. And so instead of coming home where she is from, she's from Bedford. My brother's from Twinsburg. So instead of coming home where everybody in the world would be, and of course would be able to attend, they said, you know what we're going to do? Just get right out of here. We can invite everybody, but only our family will come. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So people will kind of pick and choose on that. I mention it because I think a guy is going to find himself divorcing pretty soon. He and his now wife got married. And apparently, the new wife invited one of his ex-girlfriends. We end up finding out it was more than one. So apparently, everybody's now approaching 40 years old. The ex-girlfriend herself is 36 and now married. Right? She says They dated when they were teenagers. They went their separate ways before college. These people are now 36 and like 40 years old, in that range. So they dated before college, then went their separate ways. Here's what the ex says. Quote, since college, yeah, a little Facebook familiar, a little like I've seen this photo, all right, I kept up to date with that, I saw your brothers doing this, now, right? She's like a little bit of that. And about a year ago, they announced that they were getting engaged. So I congratulated him. She said it was innocent. Now, here's where it gets tricky, right? Because some of us are going to believe that and some of us won't. Because sometimes things are innocent and sometimes it's like, let me just throw this little grenade in here and see what happens, right? Like come on, that exists too, right? She said there was no attempt on my half whatsoever to rekindle any type of relationship. Again, I hadn't really talked to this guy on that level since before college. So apparently he was reaching out to catch up and let her know that he wanted to have a high school get-together at his wedding. They were getting, married at the hometown. So they accepted the invite. She went to the wedding with her husband, saw some friends. Sure enough, it ended up being a little bit like a high school reunion. That was kind of fun. Hey, it's been good to see you guys. Everything's great. Until the next day, when the newlywed, the bride, just got married yesterday, is now messaging her in the morning saying, you failed the test and you're the only one who did. Apparently, this is one of these things that I'm sure she found passed around on TikTok, and how to find and how to snuff out and how to smoke out one of the exes, one of these things. And so she invited all of the exes. What did most of the exes say? Yeah, I'm not going. One went. She said, you're the only one who went. You failed the test. You're here. You're trying to steal my husband. Oh, I feel bad for this dude already. It's like the high school parking lot. Like when you see the high school cheerleaders written in like lipstick all over her boyfriend's windows, right? Love you, can't wait. And like everybody's like, run. Yeah, run. Like, bro, like literally run. Like those women who cut their hair short and just watch Jane Austen movies on Friday night, they exist, bro. And you literally are about to marry one. Like that's no good. It's no good. You gotta run. You gotta run. First of all, we're getting married and you're putting my exes through tests? If I'm the groom, I'm now mad at my wife. Well, wait a minute. I gotta be honest with you, I didn't even realize I had tests. But I do, and you've just now failed one. We're getting married. This is about building our life together. I haven't been with this woman, seen her on this level since before college. And she's in your head like this? You are a mental midget. What the hell is going on here? Now, if it had been 3-4 years worth of messages and I caught him and this and that and they had lunch together and what was up with that Starbucks latte that you guys had? Like if there's that, okay. Now I'm with you, now I'm on your side. The jealousy's an ugly thing, man. It's an ugly thing. Now we all kind of have it a little. It's impossible not to have it a touch. I try to keep it at bay best I can. I'm not really a jealous person. More often than not, my jealousy has shown itself professionally than it has personally. Like, why don't I have it? I should have this, and I should get treated like that. There's a little bit, gotta put it aside, though. Because you'll obsess about it, and you'll destroy yourself. Literally watch that happen to one of the most talented people I have ever seen or worked with in my life. A professional jealousy, dude, he became obsessed with it. It's on the list of the things that kind of it's why that fire ended up burning out as fast as it did for us. That was part of that thing, and it was a shame. Because he had way more ability. It wasn't even close. And not even freaking close. But it did, it spiraled. And so I try not to do that. But if you're getting married and you haven't seen these people since before college, and your wife's putting your ex-girlfriends through tests, I'm sorry, lady, pack your bags, time to go. We are now getting in an annulment, like right now.
The Stansberry Show. You're a very easy man to hate on Rock 106.9.
Good morning.
9 a.m. Take a look at the life and career of Quincy Jones.
On my way up to Canton so I can
Quincy
make a little bit of money.
More than a few of the hits we all love. And again, driving force behind the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. pretty big show, though. Where does that go in the top sitcoms all time? It's going to be on the list. Where does it go, I wonder? Interesting. Yeah, maybe we'll take a look at that, too. 9 a.m. this morning. Rock the bank with you. Pass out that first $1,000 keyword. I've been talking about weddings a little bit, and took some text, 330-450-7625 text. Here's what happened. All right, so this guy got married, right? And his wife and now wife, they sent out some, invites, obviously. And they invited a lot of people. And first I was like, I just don't understand inviting a lot of people. And, I feel like it's a waste of money. And, I would rather save it for the down payment of the house, maybe a nice vacation, and, a college fund for, future children, whatever it should be. And Brandon texted in 330-450-7625. And Brandon brought up a good point. He's like, I hear you on this a little bit, but I think this is one of those things you've kind of aged out of. Where it's like the younger you are, the more likely you are to care about whether or not people are attending your wedding. Okay, well, overall, Brandon, you'd be right. The story we were talking about, these people are like 36 and 40. But yes, overall, when you're just talking about putting a guest list together for weddings, like under the wedding umbrella, yeah, for sure. Right? Like, I can't tell you how many of my friends, when I was like 22, that I thought, this will be my crew for the rest of my life. No, not really. Like, now what it is like 1 and 2 of those guys are my access to the rest of those guys. The 2 guys I talk to, I don't even talk to all that much. We're those kind of friends. I'll have them my buddy Nick, I can talk to him for 5 years. If he texts me tonight, if he calls me tonight, we're going to slip right back into it. Like, just old pair of jeans. Like, we're friends. Dude, it goes back to 7th grade. It's just the way it is. We're just friends like that, right? But he's my avenue to all the other people we hung out with back then. That's it. It's like he's my connection. Like, I'll catch up with him, like, all right, dude, lay it on me. What's going on with Gordon? What happened? Dude, for real? Like, and then next thing, you know what I mean? And now I'm kind of going, that's what happens. And so you're right. Had I got married at 22, every single guy in that circle would have been invited. I get married tonight, Nick's invited for sure. Nick's in the wedding. I was in his wedding. Nick is in my wedding for sure. And then it would be probably 2 more of those guys in that circle, and I'd be like, bro, she ain't really trying to hear about all 30-year-old dudes over there. Like, it would be like that. So these people, though, in this particular story, thanks, Brandon, I think you're right about that, but this particular story, everybody's like 36 to like approaching 40 years old. This couple's getting married. They invited all this guy's ex-girlfriends. I don't even think the groom knew. Only one of the girlfriends shows up. So now the new bride's upset. And then messages the ex-girlfriend the next day and says, wait a minute here. You failed a major test here. You're the only one that did it. And it's because you came here to steal my man. It's like, so the ex-girlfriend in question is also now married herself. Brought her husband to the wedding. Now, what do suspicious people think? Well, of course she did. Plausible deniability. Not going to come alone. Not going to come stag. You were not going to do that because now you look good. Look, how you throw people off the trail of whether or not you're cheating, honestly, it's been so long since I've had to do it, I don't even know how I would begin. I'm sure if I found myself in that situation, I'm like, yeah, all right, I remember how to do this. Right, it's this, and just tell her you were here, and just this, and now you're fine. Well, I was at Nick's, I haven't seen him in 10 years, that's where I was, though, right? You know what I mean? And that's kind of what you do there. But to me, if I'm the groom and I'm finding out my wife is putting my ex-girlfriends through tests through my marriage, my wedding is essentially what I mean to say there. We're using this day as like your final test. This isn't a reality show. And I hate to go this deep on that, but is that how we got here? Is it this many reality shows, too many roses, you gotta give her the kiss, but she went out on my little bushes. And like this, this feels like that. It feels like we've had too much of that running amok. Where it's like now everything's this game, it's just this chess move. If you're really thinking about the guest list the day of your wedding, like calling it over while you're sending the invites out, that I understand. Whittling it down, I don't want her here anymore. She doesn't get along with him. And remember, dude, those two used to date too, though. Remember that? And like that, yeah. And like that, okay. But the day you got married, if it's other than Jesus, I hope they enjoyed the food. Other than that, then I think you married the wrong person. If you're waking up the day after your wedding, you're supposed to be starting the honeymoon, the first day together. If you're waking up that morning and you're obsessing about somebody who was there, if no big scene was caused, I'm sorry, I think that guy married the wrong person. Why are you not I know, see, this is one of those things, right? We talked a little prenups. And I was like, I don't like it. I don't want a prenup. I don't like that. It feels like it's preparing to fail. And men and women alike, both, messaged me for days on end after that pod rant and everything else, like, oh, you big woman sissy. Like, Jesus, what kind of Disney pansy-ass view of this do you have? And it's like, well, yeah, I kind of do. That's like the one era of my, maybe that's why I still sit here like this, right? I think it's maybe I've seen too many movies. My expectation of it is kind of like different. It's just, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. If I'm waking up the following day after I got married and my wife is thinking about anything other than me, us, what we did, how great this is, what it means for us moving forward, what we're going to do, what Hawaii is going to be like, then I got to be honest with you, man, I think the next call is absolutely my lawyer.
The Stansberry Show.
It's a medicinal fact that rum gets a man's heart started in the morning.
On Rock 106.9.
The 7-0 Cavaliers at home tonight against the Bucks. Talked to Scott from WinningForNextYear.com about that. Also, who could be on the move off that Browns roster after another collapse yesterday at home to the Chargers? Just not good. Just not good, entertaining, fun football at all. And I was talking to Sam about it Friday. I said, look, I mean, if you lose 27-24, if it's competitive, if it's fun, fine. Jesus, it just looks like they're playing a completely different sport. All right, so a few months ago, I've tried this many, many times over the years, and it hasn't really gone all that well. But a few months ago, what I really decided to do was spend a lot less time on the internet over the weekend, right? Now, I have to do it some, obviously, as that is a job requirement. Not a complaint, just a reality, right? But I was using the fact that it's like, it's kind of a job requirement as a way to, like, let myself off the hook for my addiction issues of just gripping the phone out. And the internet moves so very fast these days that it almost convinces you need to live it. Because if you don't, you will miss things pretty fast. And you may then catch back up to like what the story is, but you'll miss a lot of things that, started or in the second day of the story, third, whatever it should be. And I mention it because I pulled open my phone yesterday and I start with the socials first, right? Then normally Reddit, and it doesn't necessarily matter where I'm from, right? But like I kind of just, but that's kind of where I start. And all I saw up and down my timeline were squirrel memes. That's it. Okay, I missed something. Like something's going on and I missed it. As a matter of fact, the third post I saw about the squirrel was, oh my God, this squirrel's about to win us this election, isn't it? And I said, wait, what the hell did I miss? Now, not going to spend a lot of time on tomorrow, right? We get it. People are at their wits' ends about it. I understand. But I was like, clearly, if that's a statement that's being said, I missed something, right? So most of you probably by now have heard that there was an orphan squirrel who was a social media star after being brought into I believe the man's name is Mark Longo's home. He had turned Peanut, the name of the squirrel, into like a social media star. That is strike one right there. Now, this is going to be one of those things where I'm going to have to be like, well, he's kind of right about that. And they're kind of right about that. Yeah, but he's kind of right about that. And they're right about that. Right? It's going to be one of them. The internet's a weird thing now. And normally we talk about this with like dumb rappers and drug dealers out here telling on themselves on the Instagram, slide for Vaughn, literally writing the songs, performing it straight into Instagram and telling everybody where the dead body was. I mean, it's dumb, right? The internet is allowing more and more people to tell on themselves. We make fun of Little Durk. We make fun of King Von. We make fun of that when it happens. I'm sorry, turning this squirrel into a social media star was not smart. It wasn't. Fun for the people who enjoy it? Sure. What am I going to say? The experiment out of the lab. And that's when you find yourself in trouble. I've said it about this show forever. Daily listeners, even when they're pissed at me, don't necessarily call for you to be fired. It's just like, all right, he's annoying today. All right, fine. This is what he's talking about all day. Fine, I'll listen tomorrow. They'll forgive you as much. When people are casually floating around radio stations, channel surfing, if you will, and they hear me say that they because they have no frame of reference who I really am. Experiment out of the lab there a little bit. You're telling on yourself here. How long did you think it was going to be before somebody who didn't think this was cute, funny, or just had a little jealousy over some internet fame, or doesn't like what maybe you were thinking about doing tomorrow? This doesn't apply to me. You want to know what I think? All you got to do is turn on the air, or worse, hear from a coworker. Well, what he said is that. And like, no, he didn't. But like, what I'm saying is, I can't even take part of this stuff. But this is all the more reason why I've said, dude, if I'm just living my life out there, I'm probably not mouthing off about every last thing I see online. I'm probably not sticking a sign up in my yard. I'm probably not doing this because it's just inviting in people to complain about what it is you're doing. If you like your neighbor, the dog barking in the backyard, it's like, all right, dude, dogs bark, it's the way it is. You don't like that neighbor, now all of a sudden that dog's a problem. Like yesterday, I was like raking leaves up in my yard. I don't have a tree in my yard, but my neighbor does. Not all, but a lot of those leaves end up in my yard. Mad about it? No, because I would rather have the tree than not. But you see, you take the point there though, right? It's like what people are getting will decide whether or not they're happy with what else comes with it. Did you have to go in there? Did you have to euthanize the squirrel after you go in there and take ownership back of it? You take it back out of the house? Probably not. You probably didn't have to do that. I saw Jennifer Rubin, by the way, tweet this. That MAGA squirrel deserved to die. Read the room, lady. Like literally, read the room, lady. Like you're not helping anybody there. You're helping zero people with statements like that. But this is one of those, it's 6 to 5 and pick 'em, and I can kind of see it. Because like, you're not supposed to have squirrels living in your house. And all you had to do was not turn Peanut into the biggest TikTok star on the goddamn planet, and it would have been fine. And you flip that over, all you had to do was go in there, write the guy a ticket, tell the guy to show up at a court date, and we're fine. He had it in there illegally. You know how many pets, you know how many strange pets? We let Mike Tyson have a goddamn tiger. That thing can eat a person. And Mike Tyson, because he had enough money, was allowed to buy one of those. I don't want to hear about illegally in the house. Like we're reaching into crazy arguments to sell us off on this is why it was okay that this happened. It happened because the guy just couldn't have the thing because he wanted it. He had to share it with the world. Had to show everybody. TikTok, follow, on the ground, doing it for the clip. Had to do it. We all turned into 13-year-old goddamn girls out there selling away, and that's what brought this on. If we weren't all females all day, all damn day, online about everything, you still have the squirrel. But I gotta rock the head, gotta make it count, gotta do this. And yes, they opened a conservation for other animals. That part's great. I'm not on Mark Longo, but like, dude, you brought this to your front doorstep. You invited it in by bragging about it. If it's crazy to tell on yourself when you're doing something you're not supposed to, then it's crazy to tell on yourself when you're doing something you are not supposed to. And yes, occasionally I do that. It's crazy when I do it. Like, I'm not saying it's right. It's crazy when I do that. You invited this in by bragging. Did they need to euthanize it? No. And should people really be reading the room right now? Yes. But like I said, Mike Tyson could have a tiger, the thing that could eat a him. But because he had enough money, do you think Mike Tyson, you think he is that guy? That the decision Mike Tyson has shown you is solid enough to give that man something that can eat another human being. If that's okay because you have enough money to do it, then I'm sorry, this guy's allowed to have that squirrel. Don't talk to me about illegal. Right? I'm sorry, no human is illegal, right? If that's a legitimate viewpoint, I'm sorry, no animal is illegal then.
The Stansberry Show.
Look what you've become, a schmuck.
On Rock 1069.
9 a.m. I'll rock the bank, pass out that first $1,000 rock the bank keyword. Also take a look back at the life and career of Quincy Jones. That man's fingerprints all over hits. Television, movies too. 91 years old Quincy was. We were talking a little Peanut the squirrel there, and I said yesterday, man, I had stayed off my. There was a reason I had stayed off my phone for most of the weekend. There's a lot of uncertainty in the broadcast industry right now. So I was like, just right, and so I did for the bulk of it. Actually got out, play a little golf at Arrowhead on Saturday for the Gobbler Open. Our group played fine. I personally did not. Whoa. But, just relaxed, a little bit. And then yesterday, I just didn't. I was like, let me just get my morning underway, and I'm just going to, I'll get to the internet a little later. Maybe after the Browns. So I just kind of, laid low. And then I opened my phone, I saw squirrel madness all over the place. And I was like, okay, I clearly missed something. Something happened. And Mark Longo is his name. This was New York. He had a pet squirrel. I believe a raccoon was in there as well. Peanut, the name of the squirrel, had been a viral internet sensation for Mark Longo. Of course, because nobody can just live normally now. We all have to influence everything we do. I know that sounds like a lot of hypocrisy coming from a guy who does what I do for a living. And you're not necessarily wrong about it. I don't have a problem with the man having a squirrel in his house. There are people who have said to me, look, man, there's disease issues here, right? This is literally how pandemics get started and the like. All right, man, I understand that. And I had kind of brought up Mike Tyson. I said, look, dude, Mike Tyson having an American Express black card allowed him to have a tiger. I don't think just because you have a lot of money that you should be able to own something that can swallow a human being. But this guy in New York now all of a sudden his squirrel is going to be the bridge too far. That seems crazy to me. And more than a few people on my text line 330-450-7625 and Mary among said, you know what? She's like, I am
Turn left on Arlington Avenue Southwest, then turn left on Grove Place Southwest.
One of those people is like, I worry about the disease issue. And she's like, but you won me over with the Mike Tyson argument. She's like, you're kind of right about that. It's like Siegfried and Roy. Remember them? They were problem-free with those tigers forever. They used to, sedate those tigers for a lot of that. And they were fine. They were disaster-free for years and years. And then just one day, one of them realized, oh yeah, without guns, we're at the top of the food chain. Not these.
Turn right on Clarendon Avenue Southwest, then turn right on Tuscarawas Street West.
Two douchebags in glitter boots, right? And so, and then took a bite out of one of their asses. Because they remembered, we got the power.
Turn right on Tuscarawas Street West.
Power here. And so, if a human being can have that in their home, I can't go crazy about Mark Longo having a squirrel in his house. I can't do it. I can't do it. And of course now this has become this poster animal now for this event tomorrow. For this event. And you wouldn't believe how many people are in my messages right now talking to me about government overreach about it. So that's how it's playing in the room. Because again, and I don't want to go crazy here, but a Washington Post, I believe, is where she works, Jennifer Rubin. And by the way, this woman, it is easy to go, Jennifer Rubin said, and then say a ridiculous, can't believe a human being who can count to 10 just said that. I mean, that's literally what she is. Like, she tries to say the most outlandish, left-leaning possible, oh my God thing, human, to get to the top of the pile. I mean, she's literally one of those. She's a hot take artist. She has always been a hot take artist. She's since deleted the post, but the MAGA squirrel had to die. She deleted the post, of course, because it's like, yeah, man, read the room a little. Because this will, of course, be adopted as a
In a quarter-mile, turn right on I-77 north using the right lane.
political thing by the people who need everything to be a political thing between now and tomorrow, right? That way, everything I've been saying, I hope it goes good, better go true, everything I've been saying, right? Like, there's a lot of that, so everybody's going to be, clutching to these things. I think for me, and I think for you, it's mostly just like, geez, yeah, thanks.
Turn right on I-77 north.
Hell of a thing. Like, there wasn't a way to pull it out of the house, tell the guy, look, dude, you know how this works. You got caught doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. There's going to be some red tape. There's going to be about 1,000 governmental forms that mean absolutely not one damn thing to anybody, but fill them all out in triplicate. Wait the 6
In 2 miles, take right exit 107B onto US Highway 62 East.
months, and then we'll give you your goddamn thing back. I don't know why that couldn't have been the thing. I don't know why it had to be anything other than that, other than maybe it was the squirrel itself. You remember? Squirrels are not just innocent, cute little furry animals. They are not. The squirrels. They're up to stuff, man.
What if I told you squirrels aren't just cute little animals running around gathering nuts?
No, they're not. Mark Longo, you're housing aliens. And we know it.
No, okay, they're actually highly advanced alien scouts sent
So you gotta go in there, you ain't out of the house and kill that damn thing, man. Alien scouts can't have it.
here from a distant planet in the Andromeda Galaxy.
Yeah, that one.
The whole gathering nuts thing, it's a cover story. Yeah, those little acorns, they're actually tiny data pods collecting information about our world, climate, human behavior, even our technology. See, these squirrels are part of a race of shape-shifting extraterrestrials who've been
Shapeshifters, they are.
studying Earth for centuries. They can perfectly mimic local fauna, and they chose squirrels because they're everywhere. Urban areas, forests, even parks.
In Mark Longo's living room, and God darn it, we can't have that.
Like the perfect cover. Ever notice how they're always watching you from a distance, tilted?
I gotta be honest with you, I never once noticed squirrels. You're watching me, man. No, I have not noticed.
In a half-mile, take right exit 107B onto US Highway 62 East using the right lane.
I have not. They have looked in my direction while erratically looking around, yes, but I don't ever remember, like, I'm just sitting there, it's like, a squirrel, man, stared at me. Now, I will tell you, I don't believe I'm important enough for the alien squirrel from the Andromeda planet to study Dan Stansbury to get the day. I don't think they need
Take right exit 107B onto US Highway 62 East.
to know much about me.
In their heads, like they're analyzing something.
My dog does that too.
That's because they are.
Yes. Animals probably tilt their head while thinking because they're dumb, and it's like the human can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Yes, that's probably a thing.
They send the data back to their motherships
No, they don't.
using special, neural frequencies
No,
that
they
are
don't do that. Misinformation, internet. That is disinfo.
camouflaged by the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. This is just the reality people don't want to accept.
No, I feel like reality is what that man cannot accept.
The Stansberry Show. Would you mind speaking in a civilized language? On Rock 106.9.
What if I told you squirrels aren't just human behavior, even our See, these squirrels are part of a race of shape-shifting extraterrestrials who've been studying Earth for centuries. They can perfectly mimic local fauna, and they chose squirrels because they're everywhere. Urban areas, forests, even parks. Like the perfect cover. Ever notice how they're always watching you from a distance, tilting their heads like they're analyzing something? That's because they are. They send the data back to their motherships using special, neural frequencies that are camouflaged by the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. This is just the reality people don't want to accept.
In 2 miles, turn right on Regent Avenue Northeast.
Yeah, I kind of feel like reality is what that man cannot accept. That's going back a few months ago on the program. Welcome back to the Stansbury Show here on Rock 106.9. That's going back a few months. That guy, that was, we were talking conspiracy theories once upon a time on the show. We get into it a lot, actually. And that one came up, and I had never heard it. There has been the birds aren't real one for a long, long time. That's been one. I know one bird in Canton was for real for sure, because my buddy killed it with a golf ball, teeing off once. Rifled the ball into a tree. Dude took that dude, Randy Johnson, that poor bird, man. Just like lights out. So that bird was for real for sure. But the birds aren't real one is funny. That guy believes squirrels aren't real and the acorns are data pods and they're going back to the motherships and the Andromeda Galaxy and all kind of weird stuff's happening with that guy there. Now, I've been playing that this morning because of Peanut the squirrel, who has gone viral over the weekend after being taken from a man's in New York and now has since, it's like, well, that one doesn't, it's like, well, that one doesn't make sense. And this one kind of makes sense, but we don't get to pick and choose, right? You're not supposed to be doing this. And if you are doing it, I'm not sure trying to turn that animal into a social media sensation, which he has, is going to be a smart move. Sooner or later, somebody, whether it be jealousy, not liking the cut of your jib, what sign is in your front yard, whatever the thing is, people are going to use it as an excuse to rain on your parade. We refer to those women as Karens. I shouldn't say women. Let me go back because I want to. We refer to those people as Karens. And there are more than enough male Karens out. Or there's a point to be made. People feel as if they have the woman like tracked down who called it in, who has the issue. So now you know what we're going to do. We're going to destroy lives. We're going to hunt. We'll dox. Dox, for anybody unaware, is when you go through, figure out somebody
In a half-mile turn right on Regent Avenue Northeast.
who they are via the internet, find where they work, where they live, what their address is, what their phone number is, pressure their employer, pressure their friends and family members. It's the online hunting ground. This is who we are. I've said for years, this is where we would be, this is where we will head, and we are. I don't have to dig my heels in on that. Most of you agreed with me and understood this is where we would be going. And we are here.
Turn right on Regent Avenue Northeast, then turn left on Atlantic Boulevard Northeast.
We're now. More than a few of you on my text line, again, at 330-450-7625, believe that this will now cause a visceral reaction across the country. And a new conversation will start, like I always talk about, where things don't go away the way they used to. They kind of hover now. Not everything, but some conversations hover because of socials.
In a quarter-mile turn right.
Sometimes that's a very positive thing. Some of you believe this will hover, this is going to stick around, and this will highlight a government overreach, where it's important and where it isn't, what they choose to prosecute versus what they don't, what they seem to care about versus not, and I will admit,
Turn right, then pick up on the left.
that if you easily do that this morning, and you're looking to easily do that this morning, it, well, is easy to do. There's a way to argue this on a, like, bedrock level, where it's like, this is what you care about? This is the enforcement you're going, this is the enforcement? Again, I'm not giving you an opinion. I'm telling you how the arguments will unfold. But on the news, like 2 months ago, it was, well, only a handful of apartment complexes have been taken over, though, sir. Only a handful. And the man literally had aliens, and he doesn't, by the way. He's online trying to find the dopes who believe squirrels are actually fun. It's like, watch the... Euthanizing the animal is where it feels like far. Animal is where it feels like far to me. Like Jesus, dude. There wasn't like a government form I could fill out in triplicate that absolutely... We know what the government is. It's Our Lady of Perpetual Goddamn Shakedown. So here's your money. Fine. Hey, here's your $10,000 fine, government. Here's your money that you'll go waste and do absolutely nothing with but freaking steal. Here it is. Can I have my thing back? I mean, like, it's insane. The whole thing is crazy because everybody deserves to be yelled at because everybody's acting like an idiot inside of it. Well, what'd you do? Well, I did this thing I'm not supposed to legally do, but I went online and bragged about it for a couple of years, turned it into the biggest celebrity in the area, and some lady on my street got mad about it. Well, who could have seen that coming? Well, what'd you guys do? Well, overreacted the way we always do, went in with shoulder pads and helmets and killed the goddamn thing, twisted its neck off in front of it.
Turn left on Harmont Avenue Northeast.
Everybody like morons. Like, I mean, serious. Like, what the hell are we doing? Like, what in the hell is going on? If you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, shh, that's it.
The Stansberry Show.
Yeah, I hear that kind of obnoxious behavior is very big right now in the dangerous idiot community.
On Rock 106.
The first $1,000 keyword passed out. Every Monday at 8, we talk to my buddy, the co-founder of WaitingForNextYear.com, Scott Now, presented by Beavers Marine. Those new 25 Godfrey models in the showroom floor at BeaversMarineStore.com. Check them out there. Scott, my man, I actually am, well, first, good morning. Thanks for joining me. How are you?
Hey, asshole. Quit trying to cut me off.
I'm happy to have you, and I almost skipped that part because of how excited I am to talk.
Clearly, Sam trying to get over.
In a quarter-mile, turn right on Regent Avenue Northeast.
Valiers. Cavs off to a 7-0 start. Now, you go back to 2016, they...
Turn right on Regent Avenue Northeast, then make a slight right turn on Columbus Road Northeast.
won the chip. Started out 6-0. Scott, are we thinking championship with the Cavaliers, or are we just happy to see them off to a hot start?
No, I think, anybody who thinks
Make a slight right turn on Columbus Road Northeast.
championship, I think that's...
Do not understand
that's
why.
where this team needs to be, right?
Most teams,
they
sure.
Well, this team specifically, I mean, is
People gonna act like
filled
assholes.
with the idea of competing. I think obviously the last two seasons ended a little prematurely. Running into the Boston buzzsaw. Last year, obviously, there's worse teams to lose to.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it goes to show. I think a lot of the consternation around running it back with the same team and not really making
In a quarter-mile, turn left on Harmont Avenue Northeast using the left lane.
any changes outside of the coaching staff, obviously, was thought of as, potentially not being wise, but you're seeing with the cohesiveness and this team not having to learn each other in the early portions of the season
Yes.
Turn left on Harmont Avenue Northeast.
are doing. I think, your initial question, Dan, I think if they could stay healthy, I don't think they're going 82-0 here, but if they could stay healthy and not sputter come spring, I think this team is certainly in the running for a title.
Talking to Scott from WaitingForNextYear.com, now presented by Beavers Marine, and you brought it up. They look cohesive right now. They look like they understand one another, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. Because we heard so much last year about, man, Donovan and Darius, they're buddies, like they seem to get along, but they can't really seem to figure out a way to coexist on the floor. Although this year it seems like they have that figured out. Now, Donovan said, look, DG is one of the reasons why I wanted to remain a Cavalier. The kid's great. I want to play with DG. And now all of a sudden this year it looks as if they're figuring this out.
The same guy that we were using.
Okay.
But they certainly have figured out how to coexist.
For sure.
I mean, Garland looks like the All-Star version of what we saw. Not all that long ago. I mean, so yeah. I mean, Kenny. Again, we could probably give him some credit for that. I see no reason not to. But the guy's averaging 18 and 6. I mean, that's you can't ask for much more.
No, it's really good.
For your
In a quarter-mile, turn right on Middle Branch Avenue Northeast.
for your kind of second back workout. So definitely take it. Not sure how much of it's sustainable, but it doesn't seem like there's anything outlierish to what's going on right now. He's playing, interestingly enough, career low
Turn right on Middle Branch Avenue Northeast.
minutes per game and still able to generate.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
of
Thanks for that
production. So, yeah, I mean, he's playing 28 minutes, so the rotations are strong, and maybe there's an element of keeping him a little more fresh. But
Legs fresh.
I mean, he was playing 35 minutes a game the last couple of years.
Oh,
so
wow, yeah.
that's down considerably.
Yeah, that is.
And his efficiency is up. So that's a really good sign.
Talking to Scott from WaitingForNextYear.com. Now we'll have to go crosstown now for the Cleveland Browns and live by Jameis, die by Jameis. Now you beat the Ravens the week before. We were riding high. Oh no, just when I thought I was out, roll me back in there. And then yesterday, man, like you and I have talked to.
In a quarter-mile, turn left on Schneider Street Northeast using the left lane.
about this a lot, Scott. Like, the Browns are committing 2 sins a week. They're both bad, but they're not interesting either. Like, you're not losing 27-24. You're getting routed when you lose. Like, they just play boring
Turn left on Schneider Street Northeast.
football. What's your, I guess I want to know, like, what was your takeaway yesterday?
Well, I don't know how this team beat Baltimore.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The NFL's wild, right? I mean, you saw
Any given Sunday.
Baltimore rout Denver, and then this team, which gets routed by the Chargers, gets beat Baltimore at home. It was a die by James, and then obviously some blown coverages.
Yes.
That's all she wrote. Once they got to the point where the Chargers
In a quarter mile, turn right on Firestone Avenue Northeast.
didn't have to throw the ball anymore and just let J.K. Dobbins do his thing. I mean, there's nothing this team was going to be able to do. Miles looked good. That was probably about it.
Yeah, he did look good.
If you're giving away kind of winners and losers sort of,
Turn right on Firestone Avenue Northeast.
from this game. Tillman had a big drop. He had that amazing touchdown at the end, but obviously way too little, way too late. The bye week is going to be we could all stand to get a break from the season's over, right?
You're clearly in the basement now because the Bengals win yesterday.
How does this front office and coaching staff sort of keep this group together mentally with so much football still to go?
A lot.
It's going to be the interesting part. And really, I mean, all they're playing for, Dan, are their next contracts at this point, and you have to wonder how many of those are going to be here versus elsewhere. I do think there's going to be a bit of a bomb drop in terms of players going elsewhere.
All right, well, let's just talk about that a little bit. Because Zadarius Smith is the big name. Zadarius Smith, it seems like people have already, dude, his bags are packed. He's a Detroit Lion. That's happening. See you later, start waving. Do you believe Zadarius?
In a quarter mile, turn left on Hunters Ridge Boulevard Northeast.
But that's already pretty much a done deal.
There's too much smoke for there not to be fire.
That's how I feel about it, too.
I have no way to know for sure, but interesting that they played him.
Yeah, right?
But
That's why I asked.
I do think that Darius, you saw Njoku's name up into the mix yesterday.
So do you think that's too much smoke for there not to be fire with that one, too? Because I didn't see as much in Joe.
I think there's some credence to be given to it. But I think there's a lot of these veterans that are going to be, I know people are talking about, the obvious big names, that we think here are Miles and Nick. I don't know what you get for Nick Chubb at
Turn left on Fenwick Avenue Northeast.
this point. I think the goodwill of keeping him here is probably better.
It's worth more than anything you're going to get back at this point now. With 39 yards on the ground yesterday, yeah, I think to just keep him around for the morale boost, you know what I mean, versus what you're going to get back in pick return, I think it's almost worth it to have him in the locker room.
Yeah, I think you only move Miles if he asks for it, which I don't necessarily get the sense right now. I think the next 2 weeks are going to,
Just ahead, turn left on Birch Bark Avenue Northeast.
provide a lot. I think, Petonio's 33 and he's on the back end of his
Yep.
deal. I mean, there's a lot of guys here that you could get,
Turn left on Birch Bark Avenue Northeast, then drop off on the right.
get rid of. I hate as a term, but
Move off of.
move to a different team, and be doing them a favor, right? I mean, I know
Drop off on the right.
at the end of the day, if you want to be seen as a bit of a player-friendly organization without much football
Drop off on the right.
to play here, move some of these guys and get back some of the picks. I mean, you're looking at a 2015 to 2017 stretch with this team if you don't, just given the lack of assets and no real fix to be had. It's bad. I didn't think the season would be over before the bye, but here we are.
Talking to Scott from winningfornextyear.com, and again, he now presented by Beavers Marine. Check out beaversmarinestore.com. You brought up Myles Garrett. I got one more for you before I let you go, Scott. And season up a little early and elect to have a surgery now.
I think that's possible. probably wise. You know, given
I think so, too.
You painted it, Dan. You know, again, you're asking fans who paid a lot of money for tickets to still file into the stadium and watch this product, and I don't know how you...
Well, without Miles, that's a tough ask, but if you're Miles Garrett, that's not his issue, though. You know what I mean? And so, like, I'm curious what he's going to do, you know?
Yeah, I think, I'll be very interested to see what these bi-week press conferences deal with Andrew and Kevin. You know, they historically don't say anything, which I would presume more of the same here. But,
on to this, on to that.
You know, but yeah. No, I mean, that's not and probably not even just Miles, right? I mean, there's a world where you tell Denzel, hey, let's not get another concussion here.
No more concussions.
You know,
shut her down. Yep.
Yeah. So
Turn left on Longfellow Street Northeast.
That's just the reality of the situation here, and fans aren't going to want to hear it. But you're better off keeping these guys protected for the future if you have so much money wrapped up in them.
I agree. That's Scott from waitingfornextyear.com. Check the site waitingfornextyear.com. Find Scott on X at WFNY Scott. Now presented it's beaversmarinestore.com. Buddy, have a great week. We'll talk Monday. Go Cavs.
You too, man. Take care. Thank you.
Can't wait to do it. All right. The Alpha sites are telling me that
Turn right on Wyndham Street Northeast.
they can tell us, you and I, how to communicate like gods. Next.
Just ahead, turn left on Hunters Ridge Boulevard Northeast.
Next on the Stansbury Show.
Turn left on Hunters Ridge Boulevard Northeast, then turn right on Firestone Avenue Northeast.
The Stands on Rock 106.9.
Turn right on Firestone Avenue Northeast.
Okay. Apparently those don't want to work right now. The hotkeys don't want to work. Okay. Welcome back to the Stansbury Show here on Rock 106.9. Online, that at WRQK.com. Sorry, the music beds apparently do not. Oh, there they go. Now they go. They just seem like they want to be on a little bit of a delay. My bad there. Sorry about that.
In a quarter mile, turn left on Easton Street Northeast.
Still have, that Rock the Bank keyword hanging out there. That at 9 a.m. First $1,000 keyword. We'll do that 9 a.m. also. Take a look back at the life career of Quincy Jones, passing away at the age, I believe he was 91, Quincy was. We'll get into that a little bit next hour. Yes. All right, so
turn left on Easton Street Northeast.
We talk about a lot of things here, right? Sometimes it's political, sometimes it's feelings, sometimes it's sports, sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. There's really no rhyme or reason. I enjoy that, right? Some people do, others not so much. Some people like sports stuff, right? Like Andrew texted me at 330-450-7625. Last week he said, oh, dude, I'm just happy we're not like fixing our feelings at 7:30 this morning. You're talking sports. Thank God. Right? And then plenty of other people that morning were like, oh, dude, let's get back to some of this other stuff we know.
In a quarter mile, turn right on Middle Branch Avenue Northeast using the right lane.
And once upon a time, some people got really upset with me because I was like, man, I don't know if I subscribe to all of this like male stuff. All this, you're not a man unless stuff, right? Like, I just don't really get down with it. And some guys were like, it's because you're a Sigma sissy.
Turn right on Middle Branch Avenue Northeast.
One of them Sigma sissies. Not alpha now. Right? And ironically, those guys get mad when Taylor Swift is on television because of how tough they are. So, like, for sure what I want to do is mimic them. That's for sure what I want to be is one of those guys, right? So I ended up stumbling across one of these websites about 2 years ago maybe. It's called Alpha M. Alpha Male. And so sometimes I'll reach in that bag and pull some content out of there because it's usually pretty funny. Because the alphas self-own quite a bit. So this is, I don't know if this is a self-own, per se, but this is how to communicate like a god. Not just like a person, like a god, man. So here's how you communicate like a god. You know what he says here, alphas? AlphaM.com from an alpha male website. You know what he says here? Show your emotions. Yeah, big old crybaby sissy, show them off. Whip them out there, alpha. Many fathers teach being stoic and not sharing or showing emotions. Mothers can force you to communicate, not shut down, and express yourself and freely talk about stuff. I can share how I'm feeling and express my emotions because my mother encouraged me to do so. You will get more comfortable speaking when you are in touch with your emotions because you're not held down by fear and anxiety. That from AlphaM.com. He is 100% right. Luckily, I learned that from both my mother and, yes, my father too, who told me you need to be both of these
In a quarter-mile, turn left on 55th Street Northeast.
men. Choosing when and where you are said version of man is where being a man gets difficult. Daniel, not whether or not which type of man you are, you're both. When are you which man? That's what matters. It's,
Turn left on 55th Street Northeast.
oh yeah, I will defend myself here a little, make this too much about me right now. That yes, sometimes what I am doing is I have to be the Sigma version of yes. Sometimes we have to pull that version out. I like that there. I think he is right. If you're looking to communicate, understanding your own emotions are going to make you a better communicator. I have proven it years and years and years in here by telling you this. You ever notice that the alphas are the dude when they get angry? God, punch stuff! Punch it! Because they don't know how to handle their anger. They don't know how to handle how they feel. They don't know how to feel. They don't know how to handle her choosing somebody else. Hulk smash! They can't handle what's going on inside. And it comes out like that. That's what he's saying there. That actually show your emotions. When and where you do it, yes, will decide how people perceive you with it. But only being one thing is really crazy. Alpha M says, look, you want to communicate better? I think he's right about this. Read and write. Reading obviously will help you communicate because you're going to learn more. You will also improve your vocabulary. He says, I do a lot more writing than reading. Write down your thoughts and to-do list and journal. It's an incredible way to communicate better because you're more in touch with your feelings and thoughts. Beyond that, what I would say is for guys who are a little alpha and like, I can't let other people know I have feelings and thoughts, man, because I'm a pussy if I do. Then write it down. Because then you got it out and wait for it. Then maybe the mistake of letting it out in front of the people who shouldn't see it won't happen. Because you're big, giant man who got written down on that piece of paper, so you're going to be okay with that. I think journaling is important. I do. People ask all the time, how do you start, how do you stop? Listen, normally what I do is thankful, upset. This one I'm thankful about, this one I'm upset about. I find when I write what I'm thankful about, the list is longer than if I just sat there and said, because I'm actually taking the time, that list ends up being a lot longer than I think it is in my day-to-day life. When I write what I'm upset about, I go back and look over it. That's not really worth being upset about. Neither is that. Neither is that. Neither is that. You know what? Neither is that. And by the time I've done that, when you know it, I'm not upset about it. A walk is good for this too. Mad, anxious, walk the neighborhood. Little trees, little wind, little walk. Breathe. You'll be fine. You will be fine. They talk about anxiety here. Anxious. Why are you anxious? Do the deep dive. Try to figure it out. Why do you feel insecure? What's stopping you from telling her how you feel? Why are you afraid to tell your friends what you think? Look inward, they say. This is interesting for alpha men to be given that advice. Normally it's like, drink beer, smash can on head, kill deer, shut up, smack wife. Right? Like that's just it. Masculinity has been dragged to the far end of the earth because, yes, it had been watered down in too many areas. Yes, that's true. Masculinity had been watered down in too many, and so now it's the swinging of the pendulum, and we've gone back too far the other way. Where, again, I'm going to bring up Mike Rowe. People have said time and time again, we need more plumbers, not poets. And Mike Rowe, being intelligent, has said, no, what you need is plumbers who are poets. And that's what you need. And we'll do it next on the Stansberry Show.
The Stansberry Show.
This is a group of people who don't know what they're doing. They have completely lost their way.
On Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show here on Rock 106.9, online at WRQK.com. I will often complain about this or talk about how I feel like it's silly, and I feel like I'm going to do it again. Hold on, I'm sorry.
In a quarter-mile, turn right.
I just want to see some words. So it says this is playing, but it's not. All right, sorry. So occasionally I will complain about, well, more than a few things I would imagine, right? But one of the things that I always find a little silly is it's National This Day, right? I saw this about an hour ago. Apparently, it
Turn right.
is National Candy Day. Today. I don't get it. National Candy Day
Make a slight right turn, then pick up.
feels like Valentine's Day or Halloween. Right? October 31st, National Candy Day. Candy holiday, candy day, all together there. Well, Stansbury, that's why you don't do it that way. What are you, dope? You don't do that. Already got the candy baked in for October 31st. Okay, so National Candy Day is November 4th. Like my point is, we're not trying to stretch it out a whole lot. So it's not like, other end of the calendar so we can hawk this candy. That ain't what's going on. We're just being dopes for the sake of being dopes. Like, I don't understand that one. Makes no sense to me. Makes no sense. Huh. And I'm not necessarily a hard or sour candy fan. If I'm a candy, let's go chocolate, let's go peanut butter, let's keep it with that. National Candy. Also saw this, 91 years old, passing away, Quincy Jones. Now, I guess we'll sit here on the edge of our seat and wait for the other two. Whoa, no, one. Sorry. Peanut the squirrel died. So, celebrity number one there. Quincy Jones number two, being a little facetious here. So I would imagine we're going to wait for the next two then. Quincy Jones had been a film producer, music producer. I mean, he is behind all great art. There's people who make the engines move, and Quincy Jones was a make the engines move type guy. Like, he is just one of those things. He just helped. I mean, his debut as a film producer, by the way, was 1985's The Color Purple. And all that happened there was 11 Oscar noms. That's it. That's all that happened there. It was the first time he produced a movie. That's it. 11 Oscar noms. You know, no big deal. No big deal. Pretty good there. After the 85 American Music Awards, he used his influence to draw most of the major American recording artists of the day to a studio to record We Are the World. That to raise money for the victims of famine in Ethiopia. When people marveled at that ability to make the collaboration work, he explained that he had taped a sign on the entrance reading, "Check your ego at the door." He was also quoted as saying, "We don't want to make a hunger record in tuxedos, requiring participants to wear casual clothing in the studio." Well, he required them to do that because they were going to film it, and he didn't want them to look like dilettantes while talking about famine while wearing $3,000 suits and dresses. That was smart. That was smart, but it wasn't about putting them in the right mind space of it. It was about the fact that you and I were going to see it. That's what he did it. He is a smart, intelligent man. He understands broadcasting and entertainment. That's why he was successful in it for as long as he was. He understood it. The sauce, that's how it's made. It's in the smoke and mirrors. That's where all the magic is. Too many people these days have pulled the curtain all the way back and showed you the levers of the ride. And that is really, really dumb. And that's why less people are excited about things. He started Quest Entertainment to produce theatrical feature films. Went on to do some. They did not like the early stages of that show, the early visions of that show. As most great runs of shows, Seinfeld, famously, they didn't get it. They didn't understand it. They thought they knew better. They tried to put their finger on it. They tried to control it. And Larry and Jerry said, "No, we're not doing it this way. Just trust us. Trust us." And they put them on in the middle of nowhere. Dude, they left it for dead. And then the first season was what the first season was. And then the second season came out. And they didn't overreact to the bad reception of Seinfeld. They didn't overreact to it. They just thought to themselves, we don't know what to do with it, so do nothing. And sure enough, that's what worked. They let the creatives be the creatives. And then the suits got what they wanted. Because that's how it should work. Now, creatives have to be more receptive to listening to Suits. We do. And Suits got to understand you hired creatives for a reason. Let them create. Otherwise, hire better creatives that you trust. That's what you do, but you don't stifle the damn thing because you want to feel like you manage it so you can go home and tell your wife what a big job you got. And too many television producers, too many television directors, too many television executives, that's who they are. They just want to drive home to Connecticut and tell their wife what a big job they got. They're dopes. Like, they're absolute dopes. They don't get it. Quincy Jones was a stud in this industry, man. Like, he created a lot of great things, brought you so many stars, dying at the age of 91, Quincy did. And like I said, over this next week, I guess we'll pay attention on who the next two celebrities may be.
The Stansberry Show.
I just want to say I listen to your show all the time, and I really, really hate you.
On Rock 106.9. The Stansberry Show. On Rock 106.9.
10 a.m. Teresa will rock the bank with you again. That second $1,000 keyword. I believe I'm still having hotkey issues. Let's see here if we can see. Yep. Nope, not. I don't know what the hell's going on with those. I apologize.
Turn right.
But like I said, rocking the bank with you again, 10 a.m. Another $1,000 rock the bank keyword.
Turn left on Harmont Avenue Northeast.
Where Teresa gets that passed out. We had been talking a little bit. I mentioned this in passing. I didn't even really get into it a whole lot, but I'll kind of, you'll have to mention these, throughout the year. It's National French Fry Day. It's Burger Day. Who's got the best burgers, right? And it's like, I can mock it all I want, but they are kind of fun to take part of and the like. And I had seen this morning, and I guess maybe I'm being a little too trusting of something I just happened to see quickly on the internet. But I was told it's National Candy. And I said, well, that seems ridiculous, right? Like, that doesn't seem like the right day for National Candy Day. To me, it would be...
Oh, son of a
Valentine's Day is the
bitch.
day I think about candy. Like, there's three, right? Because I had forgotten about this one. Easter would be another candy
In 0.5 mile, turn right on Kirby Avenue Northeast.
day. I forgot about that one. But, like, Valentine's Day, Easter, Halloween, am I missing a big candy day? And maybe I am. Text line, that's open, 330-450-7625. I'm on your socials, The Stansberry Show. If I'm missing where Snickers could be a big deal. Those seem to be the three for me. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I said, normally, all right, we'll put it at the opposite end of the calendar to spread them out.
Turn right on Kirby Avenue Northeast.
November 4th and October 31st aren't spread out at all. This doesn't make any sense in the world. What the hell are we doing here, right? And Philip is like, Stansberry, you missed it.
Just ahead, turn left on Lesh Street Northeast.
Buddy, you just missed it.
Turn left on Lesh Street Northeast.
It's National Candy Day to help sell off the leftover candy from Halloween. It's all going to be on clearance. So get there, do that. Well, yeah, that's the best answer I've heard thus far. That's the closest one where I'm like, yeah, all right, I guess I could see it. If I wanted to push back on that being the answer, and I guess I will here, I kind of feel like the waistline of the average American kind of tells me we don't really need candy to be on clearance. I feel like that is one of those things.
A quarter mile, turn right on Homeland Avenue.
Now, I guess, maybe you would buy something that you wouldn't normally calorie-wise. Like I said the other day about my bad eating, right? Like, I'm not necessarily candy's not the thing that's going to break that. Rather have food.
Turn right on Homeland Avenue.
Like yesterday, I ordered pizza for the game. That will get. I'd rather have that than like a Crunch bar. But like other people are more sugar-based, right? And so if you're sugar-based and you're like, well, I wouldn't normally buy that, but they're small, they're minis, there's 300 of them in that
Just ahead, drop off on the right.
bag, and now it's on special. All right. Weren't they going to put it on special without that? I don't think those two are related, Philip, is my point. Is that I think